resilience comes from material science. Okay, that's a discipline of physics. And if you imagine a physical object, then resilience describes the capability of an object to withstand an impact from the outside and then go back into its original form. Think about a sponge. Okay? If you take a sponge, you can apply any sort of violence to it. Unless you tear it apart, it will always go back into its original form. That's elasticity or resilience. Okay, so the question is, why do some people thrive in the face of adversity where others crack? That's the real question. And sense of coherence means three things. First, it's the ability, or actually it's more a belief, that the environment is understandable. Next was manageability, meaning the belief, again a belief, that you can actually do it. You can actually do it. You have all the resources to do it. There's no guarantee that you will make it, but the conviction that you have what you need. Then you still need to be lucky and everything, but you have what you need in order to be successful. And the third was meaningfulness, meaning that there was a deep ingrained belief in those people that after all, there is some sort of meaning connected to all of that. So resilience, for the guys here that speak Latin or were tortured with Latin, it's saying to bounce back. Yeah, so it's elasticity, and it's, as I said, it's the capability to recover from a stressful environment, and not only to recover, but actually to grow. And the interesting thing, and that is what research tells us, is there's two portions of resilience really. There's a portion that is kind of born, that we are born with. This is our DNA, our personality, and there's a percentage that is learned throughout life, and that never stops. Then as a crisis happens, all of a sudden. Crisis can be anything. We have actually three brains. You may have not noticed that, but we have three brains, all of you. And they represent three different stages of evolution. Okay? So there's a reptilian brain, there's a mammal brain, and there's a human brain. And what happens is when we are going into a crisis, when we are going into stress, our brain takes the elevator down from the higher function down to the lower function of evolution. So we go into reptile state, more or less, which is fight, flight, or freeze. Yeah. So this is what's going on. So what's happening is that your performance declines. Yeah. You go down, and then there's three options. One is you stay at that lower level. Second is you recover back to normal, and you take some time, and the length of time that you take is individual, person by person. Or you grow. And all of these are possible. What are factors that lead to a long and happy life? Very simple question. So what are the factors? So first of all, and that's a bit irritating, isn't it? Was discipline. Stability in relationships, minimizing distress. Yeah? The correlation between lifestyle habits like workout, smoking, drinking, was less stunning than thought. Job. There was no correlation between the job that you do and the personality that you have. What was the thing though is that whatever you did made sense to you, so purpose. So that when you go out of bed in the morning at 4 to take a conference call, that you have an answer to the question, why on earth am I doing this? And you mentioned ambition, to set yourself goals and try to reach goals, and set yourself goals that are ambitious. Those were also elements that correlated with long life. And this is a term that you maybe not familiar with. Locus in German doesn't sound so nice, but in English it means, locus of control means, where do you think is the entity that determines your destiny? Okay, so do you think that somebody outside of you determines your destiny? Meaning my boss, the company, fate, or is your destiny determined by somebody or something inside of you? Are you in charge of your destiny or somebody else? The question behind that is, anything below your ears, is that a vessel for the thing in between? Is that a means of transportation? or is there a connection? Simple answer to a complicated question, how do I develop resilience, is very simple. That's the way. Yeah? So start understanding who you are, what's your personality, how are you wired, how do you look upon yourself, how do you look upon life, what is your attitude, how do you go about life, how do you go about challenges, where do you take resources from, what is this thing underneath your ears, and how do you go about relationships and about meaning. So fundamentally, there's two structures in our brains that determine what we do or not do. The one structure is the center that drives our incentive system, our internal incentive system, if you want, Belohnungssystem. And the other structure, that's our pain system. So you have the two. So whatever we do in the brain, we either try to increase our well-being, our incentive system, or we try to reduce our pain system, either of the two. Okay, that sounds pretty basic. Now, life is complex and it's not so easy. And there's different factors that influence all of that, okay? So the one factor is